Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and today is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the Stampin' Up catalog, whether it's a mini catalog or the main catalog, and we give it a makeover. And I love this exercise in giving cards makeovers because all the cards are picked by a group of us bloggers. And so I'm not picking all of the cards, and that means that we have a great variety of cards. If I picked all the cards, then they'd be all cards that I could maybe easily do and wouldn't challenge me. But we get people, our bloggers, that pick different cards and then they challenge me. And it's also good for beginners as a starting point. So it can be either a helpful thing or a challenging thing. So either one. So today's card out of the catalog is actually coming from the cover of the catalog. So you might recognize it because the cover might be sitting out with you a lot. Let me see if I can pull this up. Here it is. So what I would do with this one, if you look at this card right now, you're going to go, whoa, that's a really, really busy layout. But it actually isn't if you break it down into its components. So let's take a look at the sketch. So the sketch is a lot simpler. The black is the outside of the card, and then we have kind of a middle layer, and then we have a kind of a horizontal layer, and then we have a greeting layer, so to speak. So what I would do with this if I were a new stamper, you don't necessarily have to put all those layers in. So if I were having difficulties, I might just use the back two layers, the black one as the base, and then the dark gray one, and maybe the greeting layer. So you don't have to make this complicated for yourself. I tried to put in all the layers, so I will show you in a second what I did. But let me hide this for a second. So you can see how this complicated card can actually be an easy card, okay? So don't let the initial card scare you at all. If you were like, whoa, I could never do that card. It's actually simpler once you see the sketch of it. So I hope you guys are all having a good week. I'm in the Boston area, and right now we are just starting to see peaks of fall color out there. And we've actually had some pretty warm days. We've had some cooler days, and now we've had some warmer days again. So we actually have some pretty nice fall weather right now. So it's almost, I guess it's leaf peeping time up a little bit north of us, but it's not quite right here right yet. I hope you guys live in an area where you can see fall colors because they're so, so beautiful and inspiring. And good morning to my team member Dee. She's here with me this morning. I'm sure there's others as well. It's hard. I can't actually see who's here because I don't have an iPad set up separately. I can just see a few comments. So good morning to everyone. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, today I'm using the Peaceful Nativity Bundle, and I will be making more projects with this bundle, and I have one planned for later this week. So make sure you join me on Friday for my YouTube live over on my YouTube channel. So just if you go to YouTube, if you're not already subscribed, just search for QB's Quest. Or you can get to it from my blog. If you clicked the blog link below and you go there, then you can have a direct link. But if you go to YouTube and search for QB's Quest, you can find my channel, and I go live at 10 a.m. on Fridays. Okay, let me switch my camera over. Now, let me make sure it's working. All right, I've got some wonky light this morning. It's very bright in some ways, and then it's, I don't know if I can, let me turn that light a little bit over here. I don't want it to be reflecting too much. Let me push it back just a little bit. Okay, so this is my card, the one I made with the Peaceful Nativity. And usually I stamp a lot on white as my focal point, but today I use Sahara Sand, which is also a light color. And the nice thing about our alcohol marker Stampin' Blends is that you can color right on the color cardstock and it actually colors quite nicely. So I'm going to show you how I did that later on. And this back layer, you can barely see it. It's kind of light, but there is an extra piece of paper in back there kind of hanging out in the background, adding a little bit of texture to this whole feel of the card. So the layout actually worked really well for this card that I wanted to build. And the nativity set, the Peaceful Nativity set, let me tell you, it is really wonderful. A lot of our bundles can be around $50, but this one's under 50. It's in the $40 range. So I love this one, and who doesn't love to build a little nativity scene? So you get the stamp set and you get the dies in the bundle. When you purchase them together, you save 10%. You definitely want to get both of them together though, because it's just so nice to be able to stamp the little scenes and then cut them out. We've got this extra piece too, which kind of is a really great texture piece to create part of the stable. And then we've got these extra trees here. We've also got some really nice words that match the stamp set. So I really like this one. But for my card, I needed kind of a horizontal greeting. So I also pulled in the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. I love the stamp set because we've got a whole bunch of words and a whole bunch of different orientations that we can use for both cards and our 3D projects. So I threw this one in here and just because I wanted that horizontal and there wasn't a horizontal greeting in here and I was trying to follow along with the sketch. So you could definitely make this card also with one of these and just cut it out in a different way. All right. I think I have talked about the main products, and as I go along, you'll see me using them. So let's start off by creating the nativity. So I've got just some scrap pieces of Sahara Sand here, and I've got my what do you call it, stable stamp, stable outline stamp. And I'm going to just use, I'm only using one color of ink on this card. It's black. Is black a color? I don't know. Technically it may not be. Absence of color? I don't know. But anyway, I'm using one ink pad, just tapping it on here. And then I'm going to stamp it on here. Oh, and I actually put the stickers on my stamps for once, but then I trimmed them off. So it kind of looks maybe a little bit wonky, but because I trimmed the stamp after I put the sticker on, it's hard to do it trimming the stamp first. So I put the sticker on and then I trimmed around it. So it did trim really close to my sticker, but I thought I would try the stickers this time and see how I like them. I have just been so used to not using the stickers, but they redid the stickers recently, so I actually put mine on. And if you need a video for that, just let me know. Send me an email. Stampin' Up created one that shows you how to do it, and it's not hard. We'll see how I like it though. I'm like it takes me such a long time to warm up to things. This is the scene with Mary and Joseph and Jesus, and we're just gonna stamp it right in the middle of this. Okay. That's all the stamping we need to do for now. We need to do the banner layer, but we need to do some die cutting first. So let's go ahead and do the die cutting. And you know what? I'll tell you this. It's easier to color if you color first, but here's the thing. If you ever shift during die cutting, which, you know, I have been known to do, and you do all that coloring first, and then you make a mistake with the die cutting, that's really annoying. I'd rather like do the die cutting first, and then if it shifts during my die cutting, then I just haven't colored it yet, so I won't be too mad at myself. So I've got my Stamp Cut and Emboss machine. I'm just going to center this right on here. Make sure it looks good. All right, Mary and Joseph, you need to move off to the side. Okay, I've got my second cutting plate coming on top here. And we're gonna roll this through clickety clackety. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now I can color this without feeling like, oh, I'm gonna make a mistake with the die cutting. And let me grab my other die. This one's, you just wanna make sure you've got them centered. And that little shepherd's hook up at the top, just make sure it's in that little window. Just making sure I can see the edge of my stamp all the way around. And then I'm going to put this down and run it through. Okay. So I can't believe this week we're going to have October. It's just like, seems like, in some ways the year's going really, really slowly. In other ways it's going really, really quickly. I'm like, didn't we just start September? Right? Just too quick. Okay. All right, so I've got my little pieces and now I'm gonna bring in some Stampin' Blends to color. Okay, so let's do the staple first, and I'm using my light shaded spruce, and I'm just gonna come along and I'm just going to just do the top of the stable. And I know that I had a dilemma. Do I do green or do I do a yellow thatched roof? But guess what? My paper had a lot of green and red in it, and I just decided to make it look Christmassy, like more like a Christmas garland. And guess what? We're allowed to take poetic license. We don't have to be 100% accurate. So I actually chose colors that would match my Christmas theme rather than being like authentic and accurate, because usually you don't put green on a roof. You usually put something that's already dried. I'm going to use my soft suede light, and I'm just going to highlight these beams with my brush. I think it just looks good if we can just highlight them really quickly. And then come down here and hit that. So there is the simple way that I did that one. Now I'm going to do Mary and Joseph. Let's start with the manger. Since I already have my soft suede light out, let's hit the manger. I'm going to use my bullet tip because these beams are a little bit smaller. Okay. I hope you're able to see that. I don't know why my light is so wonky today. I just feel like everything's a little too light. Okay, so I've got my little stable. Oh, and the other thing I need to do is the staff here. So I'm just going to come up with my bullet tip, hitting the staff. Okay, so then I will come in with my green again. And this time I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I'm going to just come in. I'm going to match the thatch of the roof. I'm going to make it green. I know. So much for being authentic. And then I'm going to come in and do the faces with dark petal pink. You can do them whatever color you want. Actually, the petal pink kind of gives like, it doesn't look very pink on here. So it kind of, you know, kind of is like a light skin color on here. It actually looks kind of like a light brown. So you can play. The best thing to do with this, with the Stampin' Blends, what I recommend is get your blends out and test them on a scrap piece of a paper to see what they look like wet and what they look like dry, because sometimes they dry to a different shade. So you can just, you know, pick whatever tone that you want for skin. All right, I think, oh, and I got hands here. All right, so now we're gonna come in, we'll do Mary, and I'm going to use Balmy Blue Light, no, Balmy Blue Dark for her, oh, what do you call it? Head covering. Okay. And then I'm going to use, I hope I use the right, yeah, the dark balmy blue. And then I'm going to use the light Night of Navy for her robe. I chose colors that would like contrast. I think I'm going to switch to the bullet tip. I chose colors that would contrast well with like the blue and the with the red and the green. That's basically how I decided this. And I actually did go online and I looked at nativity scenes to see um, if there was any help. So I did look. It's always good to look at photos for coloring and to see what different suggestions they might bring. Cherry Cobbler Light. I'm going to come in here. There's a little bit of robe down there. Yep. Joseph gets Cherry Cobbler because we're going for a red and green themed card here. All right, and then I'm going to come down here. And also because I don't have a ton of room, it's a small nativity. It's only about 1.5 inches high. So there's not a lot of room for coloring contrast. Okay. And he's gonna have dark hair. And this is soft suede dark for the hair. Oh, did I use dark? No, I wanted to use dark. Here it is, soft suede dark. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. That's all I did for the coloring. Okay, so let's get this card kind of assembled here. And okay, let's grab my cherry cobbler base, and then I've already pre-cut pieces of the 'Tis the Season paper. This paper is a great red and green paper. It's got lots of different Christmassy patterns in it, lots of reds and greens, lots of neutral paper. It's got some candy canes, trees, bells. There is a deer pattern somewhere here too. I just flipped past it. Oh yeah, here it is. We've got some stags, and you know, so it's got a nice it's a great little pack. 6x6 6x6 paper I find is easier to cut up because it's already pretty small. So let me just tell you the sizes. This piece is 4.5 by 3 3/4, and I have the measurements over on my blog, so if you need to look them up you can just click on over there. So I'm just going to add this, and basically I am centering it on the card base. I should have told you what my card base measurements are. I will revert back and do that really quickly. Adding this to here. So I started off with 8.5 by 5.5 and scored in half at the 4.25 inch mark. And then I'm just centering this piece on here, and this is 5 inches by 1.5 inches. This measurement stuck in my head. And I'm just going to add this probably about 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch up from this other designer series paper, and I'm also centering it from side to side. All right, and then we're going to add the nativity, or the barn, the stable. And let's see, I'm going to make sure it's centered. Just put it down there for a second. So you could actually put yourself a centering mark in. So if you're having trouble finding where to put this, this has a nice point to it. So 2 3/4 inches is the mark that we're going for. Okay. That looks good. Press that down. And then we're going to add this right here. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we need to add a little banner down here at the bottom. So let me grab my little piece that I used for that. This is a piece of Sahara sand. It's 4 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to use the, I think it's called the Banner Pick-a-Punch. Banners Pick-a-Punch. And I'm just going to use this banner end here. Stick this all the way in, punch it, stick it all the way in, punch it. Okay, that's the right measurement. Starts off 4 1/4 by 1/2 inch, but then it gets a little shortened by the punching. And I'm using the Blessed Christmas Wishes from the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. And I am going to center this on here. Okay. And need to add this right about here. Okay. All right, so a couple of things that we can do to add some embellishments to this card. I stamped the little star up in the top right corner here. So just give a little stamp, and then I'm just going to add that right up top corner. Okay. And I stamped it in black so it would stand out, but I need to draw a little bit better attention to it, make it shimmer a little bit. Take your pick tool, and I'm going to use one of these. These are champagne rhinestone jewels. I'm just going to add one to the center of that, so that creates kind of that little sparkly star. Kind of see it shimmer. So that's kind of nice. I like that little shimmer. And then we need to add a bow. And so when I tie bows, I actually use a little thing to help me. And I need to find, where did my green ribbon go? Let me see, I'll probably put it back. Yeah, I did. So I'll tie a bow using my little bow making device so you can see it today. I need to find out where I got this. If any of you are interested, this is a non-Stampin' Up product, but I got this a few years ago at a retreat, and it's just a handy little device for tying bows. I wish Stampin' Up would sell one, but they don't right now. So this is what I use generally to tie bows. It's fairly easy to use. I'm going to wrap this around here. You can make bows of different sizes by moving the pegs, and I just come along here, loop the little end through. Okay, and then I'll grab my scissors and just angle cut off like that. And that is all there is to tying a bow, I think. Okay, I'm just looking to make sure it's about the same size. So you can decide which side to put that on. And that's how I get my bows to be uniform size. And also if I have to tie a lot of them, it's handy for that. Okay, so then I'm just going to grab a glue dot and put it on the back of my bow. And I will just add that right about there. And that kind of just anchors together my greeting and my scene. So I really like the way that this has really good flow. Like you've got your scene and your eye is just like, oh, it looks pleasing. And this bow, I chose a bow that matches the paper. It is there, it is pretty, but it is not taking your eye away from the focal point here. You want people to look at your card, especially if it's a nativity scene, and see the nativity, right? So everything else, this is the biggest point. So everyone will look here. And then everything else is like in a smaller scale, like this little star here. It's there, it's got a little bling on it, but it is just enhancing the scene, not taking away from it. Same with the greeting down here. I kept it in the same cardstock color. If I had done white, then this greeting would have reflected more light and your eye would have also been drawn here. But because it's in the same color, it just kind of keeps it in the background as well. And same with the bow. So everything in the card makes you look right at the nativity. And that is kind of what you want. You want your eye, you want the person's eye to go where you want to show your attention. And in this place or time, it is the nativity. So what did you think about that? Did you like that card? And are you excited to find out what I'm going to do on Friday? Haha. I'm excited about Friday. I don't know about you, but I am. All right. Oh, Brenda is in Maine and they've already got their colors going. So Maine is just a little bit north of Massachusetts. Well, maybe I should say, depends on what you think is a little bit. But yeah, the colors are starting to go here. They must be perfect up there right now. But it must be starting to get cold too. Oh. We have someone here Angie's here from South Carolina. Good morning. Janine is here, one of my team members from Indiana, and she says it's chilly this morning. Okay, Dee has a question for me. How do you trim the rubber stamps? Does it help with eliminating the shadow edge around the image? Yes, so that's why I do trim my stamps. So how do I trim them? Do I have I'll trim one right here. Let me see. Okay, I've got one that I can trim. I'm going to switch my camera back over. Let's talk about trimming stamps. Okay, so I have a couple stamps here that I haven't trimmed yet. So let's first of all, let's look at this little sheet. We used to sell rubber cutting scissors because back in the day when Stampin' Up! First started, they didn't have their sheet die cut, and we actually had just a rubber sheet and we actually had to cut out the images, and so they used to sell rubber cutting scissors. Now you can still get these. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell them anymore. They're called Kai scissors, Kai. They are Japanese and they are really great for cutting through rubber because they've got these short blades. So they're really designed well. You might find another pair of scissors in your arsenal that might work well too. But if you're looking for ones that cut through rubber, try Kai scissors, Kai, and try finding a pair. Okay, so let's have a look. So when I'm trimming the rubber, I'm not looking at the sticker. So I may actually cut off a portion of the sticker. But I'm not concerned about that so much because mainly the stickers for me are there to tell the orientation and stuff. So you can see right there, there's about maybe not quite 1/8 of an inch right there. If I were to stamp this, let me just come in here. I'm gonna grab a piece of scrap paper, okay? Let's just do this for a second. So Dee's saying, will this eliminate the shadow? So if I'm a little bit wild with my, stamping, I press down too hard and then I press down hard, this is what will happen if you don't cut that edge away, and you get some ink on the edge right here, okay? Have you ever had that happen? Where you get that little shadow line. Actually, that one doesn't look too bad because it's like down underneath, but we don't want that there. So first of all, let's clean off our stamp. I've got my chamois off on the side here. Okay, so let me close this up so I don't get my fingers in it. So let me peel this off. And so now we're gonna trim off, let's see if I can get this up into the camera. And this is kind of short. So I've cut off about that much. It's very, very tiny. You don't want to get super close, but you want to get close enough. And you just want to use short, kind of the little tiny short snips. Now up top here, okay, can you see that? Up top there, it is pretty close to the edge. I don't think I'm going to have any shadow stamps right there, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to come around to the front, and there's a little bit on the sheep's nose. Is this a sheep? Yeah. So I'm going to snip this way. I'm just leaving all my little pieces so you can see right here. And then right here on the inside, there's just a little bit I could probably do. Using the ends of my blades and just doing short little snippies. And I pull that away. And that is kind of what I am left with. That's how I would trim this. So now, let me grab another block. So that I didn't trim away all too much, but it's amazing what difference that would make. So let's see if I can, I'm gonna be a little wild with this one too. Okay, I put way too much pressure on that, but and now it's just really inked up. So it's a really dark stamp, but you see I didn't get any ink on any of the edges, so it's not going to do that shadow stamp. Let me do this correctly now. Just tap, tap, tap. And then we want to use a lighter touch with this stamp. And I just kind of, I put it down and I give it a little bit of a wiggle, not a wobble, a wiggle, so I can get all of those surfaces pressed down. And then you can see how on this last stamping, when I'm not pressing down too hard, I get a perfectly stamped image. And I don't have that problem of having that overshadow and stuff. So sometimes, like, especially if I'm going to stamp the same image over and over again, I will definitely go in and trim, but I don't do it with all the stamps in my collection or in the stamp set. I tend to only do it on the ones that I'm going to use. So to save myself a little time, I just have them all out. I took them out of their rubber, I punched them or pushed them out of their rubber die cut sheet that they came on. I put the stickers on, and then I just stuck them to the case. And then as I use them, I will trim. I don't know if you can see, I trimmed the bottom and I trimmed the top because I was going to use this several times and I didn't want to make any mistakes with my stamping because, then you have to stamp over and over again. Okay. I've talked enough about this, but I hope that answers your question, Dee. It's a very good question. A question that old timers that have been around the Stampin' Up! Block a few years, like myself, we don't even think about that anymore. We just snip, and it's, we just maybe do it automatically when we have a problematic stamp like that. Okay, let me see. Okay, Janine says, I'm not speaking for Brenda at all, but my experience has been, yes, it helps with getting rid of that shadow edge, and it helps with better placement for me because I don't do the stickers. Yeah, so I haven't done the stickers for years, but I don't know why. For this one, I just threw on the stickers. I don't know. I was in a weird mood, so I just did. I don't know. Sometimes I just get in moods and I just change things up all of a sudden. Okay. Yeah, the stickers have kind of driven me crazy over the years, so I just have kind of learned to leave them off. The cling works absolutely fine. And what I do with the stickers, like I didn't put the stickers on this set, you can see. So what I do though is I take my sticker sheet and oh, you can't see. Mm, too much light. I just stick it in the case behind the front sheet. It's just stuck in there right behind this front sheet because there's kind of like a gap between the case and the cover. So I just stick everything in there. And so if I ever to change my mind, it is there. It is there for me or there for someone else when I sell the stamp set. Okay. Let's keep going. Oh, okay, Dee just said the video froze up. I hope it just froze up for you, Dee, and I hope it's back for you. Okay, let's see. Um, did I miss anyone? Diane is here from Australia. Yay! From down under. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Um, You're welcome, Dee. I'm glad that I hope that helped, and I hope it helped anyone else that was having problems with shadow stamps. I just brought everything out just to show you. And Dee says leaves here in Missouri are beginning to turn, but it's really early. Yeah. Oh, you still get leaves at Thanksgiving? That's pretty late. Yeah, the leaves will be all gone by Thanksgiving here. For sure. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week. I will be back here on Friday, so don't forget. If you want to know anything about this card I just made, you need a supply list. Click on over to my blog. That link is right down below. And there's also other information. There's a way to contact me. So look at those links below. I always thank you for your orders because I really appreciate them. It allows me to do this as my full-time job. And there are rewards for that. I have free tutorials that I give out, and these would be paid tutorials for anyone else. But when you place an order, you can choose one of my tutorials for free. So that's a nice perk. And if you spend $75 with me in a month, I also have a gift that I send you the following month. All right, guys, I hope to see you on Friday. Have a great week until then. Take care. Bye bye.